just use the chat box and answer with the numbers. Okay, we can use the poll. Wow. Okay. Very good. Interesting. So those who haven't seen the video, they can just guess what was the number. Great. So I have the poll in front of me. More than 50% have participated, and this is what the number is. So those who have said 1, that is only 1 person, and 1 is the right answer. There was one penguin that was sleeping. Okay, and okay, coming to the next question. How many penguins? Number of penguins in the video. This is very tricky. Okay, so Mohit is written 11. Wow.
Come on, guys. Everybody participate. We have 44 people right now with us.
Can we have the video again? Actually, we logged. I think we missed it.
I'll play it after this poll, because then it will be
Okay.
for them to count. Okay, so here's the result. 40% said it's 12, 40% said it's 10, and 20% said it's 14, and the actual answer is 14. Okay, let me share the video again. Just a second. So now you can actually count the number of penguins. Okay, actually, I saw this video. I could actually relate it with the current scenario which is happening, like comparing this shark with COVID and all people in the iceberg, all these penguins. I can relate it to people across the globe who are just, you know, they are working to fight against it. But then again, we are doing it by maintaining that social distancing. And we're doing very well. I hope soon our offices reopen and we can actually do this meet face to face rather than doing it virtually. So without a further ado, I would like to give the platform to Prerna. Prerna, I would request you to please take over so that we can really, go to the actual essence of this program, this virtual connect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Navi. Such a pleasure. And I figured out that you find out means and modes to engage, and it was pretty creative and on such an insightful session for today. And I am so excited. I was, you know, when we had actually started working for this HR4HR, so far we have always done it face to face. And this time we have delayed it, and finally the team decided, let's go online and let's try to do virtually. And I think good thing has happened when we have taken that decision, and I can see 53 participants already. This is amazing. And let me share a quote with you. When I was seeing the list of participants, one thing which was coming to my mind is the quotes from Brian Herbert. He says, the capacity to learn is a gift. Ability to learn is a skill. And willingness to learn is the choice. And I really congratulate all of you who have done that choice of coming here and learning. And as for all our HR4HR programs, we ensure there is a good takeaway to you. There is a lot of learning, and absolutely we are providing value. And let me congratulate to all of you. Being here at this moment means we are sharing the screen, we are sharing the time, we are sharing each other's presence with people from 21 different cities. This is so heartening. Thank you so much. It's like even tier 2, tier 3 cities besides metros. I really, thank you. And in the same breath, I really thank Sandeep, who has agreed to be here. And I am so excited to have her on the panel, because if it would have been a face-to-face session, getting her from New York would have been so much difficult. And Sandeep, also choice for our session today is, she's the person who has rich 13 years of experience, all there in US. But she is the one who I say is part of playing 11. So she's not the coach, she's not the physio, she's not the mentor kinds. She's the one who's going through ups and downs as we are doing. She is kicking, she's alive, she's struggling, she's achieving in these tough times when it has been really, really tough for her also. Things were not going right. And the last we met, she was to fly back, and then she's here, and then she's managing her US timing and all. And which is very interesting, because when I speak to her, she being in India, still I greet her from as per the US timing. So in the morning I greet her, okay, good night, because that's the time she's maintaining. And hats off to Sandeep. We would really like to know about your journey so far. And I'm sure it's going to inspire, because the more I interacted with you, the more I learned. I felt the market, which we always feel, it's so competitive. You are staying in one of the most expensive cities. It is so challenging. New York is, the culture is so different, but there is so much common things in Indian working culture. The complete mindset, and also there is a lot to learn from India, as we keep saying. So definitely would like to know more about you.
Thank you so much, Prerna, for such a warm welcome. First, I want to say thanks to all the participants. I see here 56 participants have joined. I'm really honored to be here. I wish I could have met you all in person, but this is a great platform online. We can still connect. And thanks to Prerna and her team for arranging this. About my background, I was born in India and I did my schooling here. After that, my work experience, I started my career in US only back in 2008. So I got into workforce during subprime crash, right? 2008 famous subprime crash. So that time I started a very simple job as in information technology as a consultant. So and I will also kind of later on doing my MBA, improving my skill set, learning more. So 2014 was the year when kind of first time I heard about digital assets and actually about Bitcoin. And for me, being part of the workforce from subprime crash and reading about it. So this technology behind digital assets made a lot of sense. So I was really intrigued by how Bitcoin and actually the blockchain technology can be used to build a better financial system, and how can we improve our current system that we have. So that was actually my first kind of experience getting into this entrepreneurial journey from a simple work employee. And then that time I started at first an initiative educating women about digital assets. And that time digital asset was kind of very new. Even though in the US, it means living in New York City, literally like I will go out and ask people, and 99% people will not even know about it. Times it was just I am the only woman sitting at conferences or some meetups. So that was also kind of very different experience. Like, wow, means am I an outsider here? Like just me being there. So that was kind of my start. And I started Miss Bitcoin to educate women. And after that, I have also worked at private equity firm at Wall Street and also involved into some crypto startups. So ever since, it has been a roller coaster journey. Every day there's a new learning. And there are times you fail, things do not go as you plan. But overall, I would say it's been a beautiful experience, kind of exploring and learning every day. Means what can we do next? What can we learn? Yeah. So thanks, Prerna.
Thanks so much, Sandeep. And I would request, in between, we lost you because of, I think, internet connectivity. So when we do, we will just put it on chat, and so that we hear you more clearly. Surely, we hear most of it, what you say.
Okay.
And I still remember when you say that in all the fintech technology programs, when you were invited and as a speaker, people used to wonder whether you are somebody's girlfriend or you are a reporter or you are, you have accompanied someone, and suddenly they used to see you, talking, sitting there and discussing about big stuff. So this is very interesting. Now taking cue for the topic for our session, developing entrepreneur mindset, which is going to be a very, very critical skill. We need to actually understand in detail what does actually that mean. Let me share with you my experience and my interactions with my set of ex-colleagues, my clients, and people around me. Most of them, very interestingly, have found three set of employees in their organization. And I'm sure most of you can relate with it. There is a one set of employees who feel this is the worst thing which has happened. It was not anticipated. They require push. They are the ones who need to be pushed for things. There are a second set of people who are the ones, I call them the ones who ensure the show must go on. And they will struggle, they will figure out solutions, they'll figure out ways, they will ensure clients' deliveries are impacted minimally, to ensure the deliveries they are happening. So they are second category of people. And interestingly, there is a third category of people who I call are the strategists. I can step up. Those are the ones who are parallelly thinking about how to be better prepared for such situation, what kind of diversification we can do, what kind of business continuity plan we should have, what kind of different modes and means we should go. So they are donning that entrepreneur hat, they are having the parallel discussions. And from the views from employer, and what I see is that definitely there is a lot of pressure on people, people who are running the business to make it go, because they can only run it if they have money continuously coming to them, which is got impacted at all levels. And but these third set of people, they just are not willing to let go. And these third set of peoples are also the people who can easily survive outside without job also. They will figure out something. They would figure out for at personal level, they will figure out at professional level. They would make their way. It would take some time, but they would bounce back. And they have been identified. And this is from the same set of employees, and they have surprised. This set has surprised all. And what I hear from now the CEOs is that we are now understanding to let go of control. So they always felt that we need to control, we need to tell them what needs to be done, we need to show them the path, we are the person who drive it, we are the person who enthuse. But now once that situation has come, they are feeling the control needs to go and let them run, and they can actually trust them with that responsibility, which is a very, very interesting observation and interesting sharing I have got from many. Sandeep, here we are talking about entrepreneurship, and you have donned many hats, and you interact with fiercely competitive entrepreneurs in so many countries at all levels, and in very, very, even technical domain. Tell me, what are those few critical skills or those critical aspects of entrepreneurs?
First and foremost, I see the resilience. I mean, this, as a human being, I think we are very strong species, and we have this spirit to be adaptive to new things. So same as an entrepreneurial, you're ready to kind of, doesn't matter how hard it is, how challenging it is. It means something, if you really believe in it, you gotta make it happen. So that requires a lot of strength, a lot of workforce. It's easy say than done. Means it's very easy to say everybody has, everybody has a great idea. So idea is only the 1%, but 99% is the execution. There's not any magic pill or any kind of luck we talk about. We're like, okay, this is how things can happen. So first thing is, okay, you have a great idea. Everybody has a great idea. The most important thing is, how do you execute it? Do you have proper strategic plan for that? And that's just like, again, only like 5% of the work, but the real work is the hard work and discipline. It takes a lot of discipline and hard work every single day to something that's in your mind, then putting that on paper and then executing it in real time. So that's one thing. Second thing, I think, is learning also. So right now, I think this COVID is a very big example. And right now we are learning to interact online, and there are challenges right now. Even on our call, you said you couldn't hear me correctly, right? Maybe internet was not, quality was not that great. So that's also, I mean, that's where we see, okay, this is something that we need to improve, right? That's like, okay, as a leader, you think, okay, alrighty, this is something there where we are lacking, there we need a lot of work that needs to be done. So things like that, where you really see certain challenges exist, and how can you, take advantage of those challenges, and you take those challenges as an opportunity and then work on that. So that's where comes the learning part, because it's everyday new learning. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's not like, I know everything. It's not like that. If you are humble and you're learning, that's how you succeed more. And the third thing is, I think, pivoting to new ideas and new ways of doing things. You can have the best idea, but if there is no demand for that, if you're still challenging to kind of make that happen and you're not having success in that, so maybe it is better to pivot and see what is working. There are other ways to do things. So people, those are more flexible, never give up. It sounds like a cliche, but it is actually very true at the same time. In the spirit of really never giving up, it's the hardest thing to do, but this is how just it is. And there's no magic pill. It's hard work, discipline, learning. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Absolutely. And you know, resilience, I totally agree with it. Such a strong word. And resilience in VUCA world. I always get fascinated by, you know, VUCA world. And in fact, now we are all experiencing it. Okay. So VUCA is volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world where we don't have control. Things are happening. We have not planned. Let me put it simply. It is the place or the environment which is chaotic, crazy, fast-paced, uncertain, like nothing which you think is going right. And survival in that kind of world. The first is acceptance, acknowledging, okay, and then working in that kind of, navigating in that kind of world, which I feel. And Sandeep, rightly you have given, you know, certain things about discipline and about learning. All that is fine. But what I have seen these days, that people have started comparing, that other person could do so well, I could not do this, or someone is more successful. But here, I feel the success or the thing which makes you happy could be so different for each one of us. What I feel could be a satisfying experience could be very different from what you take as, for you, the driving force or satisfying experience. And I can say for all of us here, we would all have our different motivations, our different needs, our different set of you know, experiences which make us happy, and those are our successes. Can we have a quick poll to see that what difference these things make in our individual lives? Can we have a quick poll here?
Yeah, Prerna.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Very well. I can see people giving the responses. Can we have the results, please? Wow. Wow. Okay. So health and family. Oh my God. Okay. So I would say thanks to this situation, COVID, it has really made us realize to take stock of things which we were really ignoring, and especially our gratitude to the people who have been always supporting. But we always said we are too busy. Okay, we have work to do. So thanks for that, the family. And we can only be successful if we have a good support system, and we can all develop our support system by being really thankful and by being really grateful to the people who are really working towards it. And trust me, no one can make it alone. We just can't make it alone. And even you know, taking cue from here, Sandeep, even many people are now forced to sit at home and work, but it is so frustrating. Most of us would like to go back to our office, to get into that working mode, to have that interaction. And even Satya Nadella has just mentioned few weeks back, then don't over celebrate work from home, because those few minutes before the meeting interactions and few minutes after the meeting interactions make all the difference. That's the connect, that's the affability, that's the feeling you develop, you know, that's the appreciation for each other, that's the human connection. Okay. I would like to know your views when the whole world is talking about now, get gear up for working from home. And this is what so many webinars and so many tips on how to now manage yourself to continuously be in that state of work from home.
No, actually, that's a very big challenge for all of us. So first thing, I actually 100% agree with what Mr. Nandela said. This is we shouldn't celebrate it too early. And I think the first foremost thing is we need to remind ourselves the situation we are in, this COVID-19, it is a temporary situation, right? In our long lifespan, we consider it just like only 2 months, and maybe it will be there for a few more months, maybe less, maybe more. We don't know that yet, right? But still, it is a temporary situation. So that's first thing. So making a decision and just predicting and planning our life based on this temporary situation may not be very wise for us a long term. That's my first take on this. Second thing is that I think one size does not fit at all, or one size does not fit all. Many people, they have the freedom to work from home, and even if they have freedom to work from home, they have a platform to work from home. But for many people, it may not be possible. So that's the second thing. So let's say, I think there are big news, and we can compare every company, every business, every position, just in with in a one bucket. So I think one example we can take, Facebook and Twitter, they just recently announced they are okay for their employees to work remote permanently. Maybe that is suitable for their business because that is more like a social media platform, and you have all the information already public. So that may be kind of easy, right? And that suits their business. At the same time, if you're dealing with some kind of very critical information, you are dealing with, even in a tech company, you are managing people bank accounts and their social security number is there, things like that. That's a very sensitive information. So at home, your system may not have a very strong security. This is the kind of security you have when you go to office. So that's like a very critical thing. It means I was actually reading an article, and according to that, just from January 2020 to till, and that was back in actually March, I was reading that article. So by end of March, there were already 16,000 domains, secure domains registered by hackers. So how easy it is for hackers to hack your information. So those are like real concerns for us, right? So that's why I think working from home for everyone is not a choice, or it's not, maybe at the same time, it's not wise for everyone. So that those kind of things we really need to consider as leaders, means what work best for us. It's like every family is different, every family, their way of life, their style is different. So that's individual decision for every company. And because of social pressure, thinking they are doing this, so maybe we should try the same thing, you will need to see what your business is and what are your priorities, what works best for you. So that's another thing I think we need to consider. The third and foremost thing I think is productivity. When we go to work, it's all about productivity. So I was just talking to my friend 2 days ago, and she lives in New Jersey, but she works in New York. And she was sharing it because from New Jersey to New York, for her, just one way commute is like 2 hours. So it's like 4 hours commute per day for her. And she said, because she's working from home, she has been very productive, and she's saving 4 hours every single day. So which is kind of great thing, right? It works great for her. Her productivity has increased. At the same time, for me, working right now from here, when I'm working on this virtual machine, my virtual machine is so slow. And something that takes me, that will take me like 5 minutes to do, that take me 30 minutes to do, because it's just, the system is so slow. So it depends like how productive you are. You may be more productive, for certain people, for certain position, the kind of work they're handling, they are maybe more productive at home, and work from home works best for them. but certain people, they have certain position and their work requires certain kind of things. So for them, it may not be the best decision. So I think we really need to consider all these different aspects as leaders, and then from there plan our workforce. Means, and I think, you know, you just mentioned earlier about people. Many are kind of eager to go to work. We also need to, and if we are in health crisis, so because we are in health crisis, we do not gonna go into another health crisis. So this is actually 2017. I was attending some classes from Dr. Schiller, who is a Nobel laureate winner, and he's an economist, one of the world top economists, and he teaches at Yale University. So we're just kind of attending some online classes on financial markets. And one thing that time, like he projected, you know, in next 5 years, that time, so it's been already now 3 years because we are in 2020, 95% retail jobs will go away, and there will be more jobs on like there will be more therapist jobs. So that is like increasing curve we were seeing. So to me, that's the another thing, right? As a human being, we are social species, and how much living in isolation and working from home, is it really affecting our health, our mental health, which is very, very important. So I think we really need to consider all those things. For some people, work from home may be the best thing, for not for all. So yeah, thank you. That's how I see it.
Absolutely right. And you have picked up World Mental Health. Uh, I hear a lot, and I personally feel also we are actually looking at a greater pandemic of mental health. We as humans, we really, really need to interact. There is a need for us to be together, to be with someone. And situation like these, when things are not in control, uh, we feel that you know, we are not meant to be like that. We are the failures. We are not able to do that. Why we? So many questions. And then on top of that, there is nobody who you can just walk over and discuss and vent out things. So at this stage, we really, really need to make a conscious efforts for us to be positive, to come out of it, to make an opportunity to connect to new people, uh, go back to our alumni, go back to our friends whom we have not spoken. Some conscious efforts need to be done. And at the same time, if we know that people who already are in that state and as the study says, that people who have the history of slight depression or anxiety and all those things, they are most vulnerable at this stage. So there needs to be a lot of support required at this stage for us collectively to come out of this. A week back, I was in a webinar with one of my super bosses from IBM, Mr. DP Singh, and he mentioned now the generation which is going to come out of COVID is Generation R, that is the reset generation. They would know how to now survive. That is the resilient generation. That's the generation who would figure out their ways and rightly what works best for them. So individually, we will have what is best for ourselves, which could be absolutely different from others. I Here, Sandeep, there is a constant noise of, okay, we can do all that, but once the things are back to normal, okay, and maybe now we are looking at the new normal itself. This is how we are going to be in such state. Tell me, what is your view on that? All the opportunities are on hold, or they have slowed down. Do you also feel so?
I think the first, I'm gonna be a little redundant here now, but as I said earlier, again, this is a temporary phase and we all are learning. So this is a learning phase for all of us. Yes, one way it is true, things are on hold, opportunities are on hold, the way we were doing things 2 months ago, the way our world was, right? So that's one way. And we are expecting kind of going back to the same speed and having things, you know, back to normal the way it was. So I think the example I would like to take here, so if we look into our history, right? So 1945, when World War II ended, there was a new world norm, and there was a new monetary system. There were, and that's what also, you know, from 1948, that's where like the birth of baby boomer generation, which is the most successful generation of our time so far. Means, and that's just the reality, means the civilization, this world we are living in, it's built by baby boomers, by our parents. So that's, I think, one thing. So from this, you know, opportunity right now, this COVID thing, it is very similar to, you know, that this temporary situation. Okay, back in 1945, it was a war, and now we are in health crisis. But what are we going to do from here? So there will be many, many new businesses, many, many new opportunities. So this time that we got now, I think this is the best time for us to kind of look into those opportunities and learn the skill set, so that we are not leave behind and we are utilizing our skill set the best way. So I work in technology and finance, so I can speak more on that industry, but there are many more opportunities in many different industries that's gonna be upcoming. So for technology, I can take, you know, few examples. So let's say, you know, our e-learning, schooling right now in, you know, this temporary phase, students are learning online. But do we have platform for that? That level of platform where they have proper system online, they can take proper online classes, they have proper internet, they have proper you know, laptop and ebooks, everything that needed if it has to be little longer. And also means we, if, you know, kind of adjusting, for us making that adjustments. Yes, students, kids will be going to school, but at the same time, okay, something like this they can also adjust, right? So that their learning is not stopping. So means I see that there are going to be many new tech companies upcoming in this e-learning platform. Even though something like this Zoom, we will need more platforms like this, more secure platform. You may, many times you're, you know, in certain businesses, the information that you're sharing, that has to be encrypted. So there has to be more security measures for that. Do we have that kind of online system available for remote conferencing and all? So that's another thing, right? That's like another big, I would say, multinational company. You know, like, yeah. So that's just like, you know, like two example. The other, I think we can definitely see, I see a lot of new startups in using AI and machine learning and blockchain. So for us in this crisis, we see that right now we have to disinfect every single object we are touching, right? Means if even vegetable and groceries coming home, you're literally putting that into hot water, you know, and salt and all that, making sure like, okay, even though you're you know, the bags you're carrying, you first disinfect and then touch the bag. This is just the reality. This is the world we are living in. So from that perspective, you need to see where those resources are coming from. What is the supply chain for that? So to solve that problem, maybe you can use blockchain technology. That can be very useful in supply chain to, you know, really kind of track the chain of that, you know, products, where it is coming from. So that's another kind of, you know, new area. When it comes to AI, means I see that, like, you know, the use of robots to disinfect, a use of robots, or, you know, just even just AI to track the outbreak, where what is happening, that's going to be huge. So I really believe that there are many smart people, and they're going to come up with these smart ideas. How can we use, you know, all these technology? And there will be new, you know, set of companies, and for new set of companies we will need new talent. And I mean, I'm just, as a technologist, I can speak more for my own, you know, area, because that's something I kind of understand more. So I truly see that there will be a lot of need of new programmers in cybersecurity industry, historically actually underemployed. So that's something I see right now, even though there's more need to have more secure systems. So there's even more. So if you are building that kind of skill set, I think there's going to be a lot of demand. So I see all these are opportunities, and this is just, I'm talking for, tech, but I can certainly see that there's a lot more in healthcare. Uh, I don't remember the exact number, but just a few days ago, I was reading just in the US, there will be need of, I don't know how many 100,000 medical professionals in next 2 years. So yeah, it's again, we need people to make that happen. We need smart people out there. We need more smart people in research so that they can predict this kind of pandemic in advance. And then we can control, and the effect of these kind of things should be less. So all these are opportunities, like in research, medical, technology, a lot of demand, and many other areas too, and even in manufacturing, you can see that.
Absolutely. They say if one door closes, there are hundreds which get open up. It's just that we have not been looking for those doors, because one was available to us. So as you are putting it, that there are many areas which have the potential to grow big at this stage, and maybe there are few things which would have been there as per the normal pace 5 years down the line, or they would have been relevant 10 years down the line. But now with this crisis, I think they all have fast forwarded, and maybe we need to now actually get into and push and prepone all the timelines for them to be out, like cybersecurity, AIs, healthcare, and all these fields. And we are from very, very different field here. So does it mean only technology fields are going to go up, or the other fields, which you have also touched upon, that they all are interrelated, and but technology becomes an integral part of all the industry. So like millennials, they have a very different lifestyle, work style, and different attitude and different aptitude. I think now this is what I am presuming, the reset generation or generation R is going to be, they either are friends with technology or they are not. So irrespective of age, irrespective of whatever skills you have, you got to imbibe, you got to learn technology. I think it's the same way like all of us now have learned, especially in India, to do most of our work on WhatsApp. So this is something you can't do away with. Like, it's so integral part of your life now. And everyone in the family has learned it, because there's no way out. Okay, either they go out, reach out and take help. So is going to be the role of technology. Either you know, or you get people who know technology, but you got to leverage that technology. Now, this is what I hear you say. But definitely, Sandeep, I would like to know about your field. You are an expert there. It's like fintech, blockchain is what you relate with. And if you can also touch upon that, what are the things which are happening in that domain? And you are the best person for us to tell that.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So actually, when it comes to fintech, there's like so many new startups in the industry. It's more like, okay, it's like combination of finance and technology, right? So kind of merging both. And for me, the first thing I see in next few years, actually majority of baby boomers are going to be retired. And it is going to be the biggest wealth transfer in the history of humankind, literally like somewhere around $30 trillion wealth transfer from baby boomers to their kids, millennial. I myself is millennial too. So that is one thing. As you said, the way millennial work and baby boomer, their life choices and the way they do things are very different. So I can just see the difference between my dad and I. I mean, my dad, he doesn't know anything about technology. He doesn't like to use WhatsApp or phone. It's actually my mom who operates it all the time. She's kind of adapting it, but dad is like, no, I am not. He just kind of like to have simple way of doing things. Likes to go to bank and kind of get cash from there, versus dad, why can't you just use the Apple Pay, right? Or you use cash. Like, means nobody uses cash, but yeah, maybe no, actually no, everybody uses cash in India, but some in US as well. Um, so so that's, I think, so from that side, so actually to answer your question, why I'm kind of comparing baby boomers and millennials is just the style of, you know, doing things is different. So that's where I see a biggest opportunity for us in fintech, to have our new system that kind of really interact, you know, the younger generation. So that's where I see like a lot of new demand of like robo advisors. Means they're in this industry, means asset management industry, financial advisor. That's $1 trillion business out there, and it's all means, you know, very kind of you know, that business where it's all about person to person. But now the millennial, they like to see things transparent. They're kind of more you know, friendlier and more comfortable with technology. So we have to build those kind of platforms where, so that's where I see like many new robo advisors coming up. I mean, Robinhood is again another very big company, that's a millennial company. And because Robinhood made it, you know, free trading platform, even though these industry players like TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, they had to follow the suit, and they again, you know, shared the same thing. They kind of said, okay, yeah, means their platform, they are saying now for retail trading it's free, which is kind of, you know, very unique. It wasn't their model before. So that's another thing. And I think the also in payment industry, I see a lot of boom. I personally am very comfortable paying with Apple Pay. Means to me, it's a lot of work taking my credit card out and swiping it. I'm like, why? It takes 5 seconds versus I can just, you know, like, yeah, it's my phone and I just press the button and that's Apple Pay and I'm done, right? So I see that comfortable way of like making a payment. But then in digital assets, in developing countries like, you know, in Kenya, or even I would say the whole continent, Africa continent, I mean, they do not have access to banking. 2 point, I don't remember exact number again, but somewhere around about 2 billion people on planet Earth, they do not have access to banks. So that's another very big need where we need to bank the unbanked, but they do have access to technology. They do have access to phones. So that is another kind of very big, you know, market out there. These are like just the top three, but there's a lot more work to do in fintech, even the settlement of payments. So lots and lots of opportunities there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's your area, and you have so much depth in that. And now I was wondering, yes, all these are really required. Absolutely. So at this stage, let's have questions, because I could see that there are a few questions. And one of the questions which I see here is from Navneet. I think it is for you. How can the fashion retail startup companies cope with the current crisis situation? And do you think investors will give funding to such startups?
This is actually not area of my expertise. I mean, I have very less, I have no experience and knowledge about retail industry. So right now, being in this, you know, business of, you know, I kind of understand the way things are with the venture capital and investor community. Right now, I mean, it's literally on hold, all the funding. This is like very kind of, you know, harsh reality. You may not like to hear that, but this is just the reality right now. I mean, it's in retail, airlines, education, like universities, they are really badly affected. So there is like this kind of hold now on funding, especially right now. So I mean, but again, the situation is just temporary. So right now for retail, I mean, for clothing and for shoes, I know that there are already kind of, you know, startups working on it. You don't have to go to a store and try your outfit or shoes. You just kind of, you know, again, just use technology, and with that you can see, okay, you're trying this t-shirt or this color, whatever, or this, you know, shoes, and that fits you, and how would you look. So if right now we have this condition where we can go to a store, we can have that authentic experience trying on shoes and trying on clothes, but with technology you can do that. So maybe retail will have to also adopt something like that. But end of the day, our Earth, it has a population of 7.6 billion people, right? I mean, right now we are just in this phase where we are isolated, but it's not gonna stay forever, right? We gonna go out, we wanna dress up, we wanna have fun, we gonna have celebrations. So when all of that's gonna be there, yes, it's a necessity, right? We do need retail, and that's a huge part of our life, right? This e-commerce industry, I think, back in 2014, when for Miss Bitcoin I did research at that time, in the US, consumer spending was $15 trillion. And women were spending 80% of, they were like playing 80% of that role. So look at them, and by 2021, that market was going to increase, and it was going to be somewhere around $18 trillion or more. I mean, my numbers can be off because it's been a while I did the research. So look at that market. So that market exists. So once things open up, once these smart people, they find out the vaccine, I think we'll have all this back. And then, maybe it will be fun. You go to a store, you kind of click on an app and you see all the colors and shirts and whatever you do, play with that. And and then try your authentic shoes or shirts. So there's always hope and new ways to do things. Thanks, Navneet, for your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope it was helpful.
Okay, so I don't have a name here, but a question. What would be the phase of recruitment post-lockdown, as Indians have lost almost 30 crore jobs, and now we are heading towards the financial crisis? Whosoever has asked this question, let me quickly take it, the view on this, my view. Very, very relevant question here at this stage. We see that there has been some disruption, and it has impacted all the processes. It's not only recruitment, but even the spending on ODs, organizational development, and all the engagement activity. So many things, things have started taking a very, very different turn. But this is, again, as I have told, and rightly Sandeep has mentioned, this is all temporary. Recruitment is happening for many people. Those people who are getting relevant knowledge, information, things are changing. Many industries I am in touch with, they value knowledge over degrees. So how relevant you are, you need not to have 3 years course, but even foundation courses, certification courses, small courses where they give you a lot of knowledge which are relevant in today's world. So those options are going to be there. There is a huge demand of people in technology. There is a huge demand in edtech. There's a huge demand in edtech. This is growing. And then digital marketing, the whole scenario of marketing, because travel is going to go slow for another maybe a year or so. But those jobs are not going to go. They're just going to get transformed. And what we do, the decisions we take now are going to reflect where we stand 6 months down the line. So it's just an opportunity for us to relook at our skills at a larger level. How relevant are they to the market which is going to be there? And even in our domain, if we are already expert in those domains, how are we integrating technology with those domains, or integrating various other verticals with our knowledge? Because now the time is of collaboration. Now there's no time of, okay, I can only know this. Everyone, even in pandemic, the whole system needs to work together. Doctors, the pharma companies, the police, the the hospitals, everyone. So it is just not that one is efficient, so it would have an impact, same kind of impact. Everyone has to work in sync with each other. So there would be new opportunities which are going to come, and this is, again, we would only have to think, because they were not there before. So those who are working towards it, maybe right now it is not there, but you are getting prepared for those things where you would take an early bird, or you are you have that early advantage. because you are preparing yourself for that. I hope that answers. And I have few more questions we can quickly pick up. Spending habits seem too little to change. How do you think it will impact consumerism? Very, very short answers because we have now very few minutes to go. Yeah, Sandeep.
Okay, say your
So your
question
domain,
again.
financial.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think, but it is on a consumer spending, right? I'm sorry. I don't know if I can answer your question directly. I mean, right now, actually, what I see, because it's a global pandemic and everybody is struggling financially, means it's not, I mean, even though if you think like millionaires and billionaires, they are doing very well, it's a very few percentile, maybe, you know, very few people are doing well, but majority of us are struggling. So yes, to answer your question, financial, you know, these consumer habits are hard to kind of change. I personally relate to this. It's very hard to kind of, you know, I mean, right now for me, what I can say, I'm living here in India. I'm isolated in this remote place. So my lifestyle is not what it used to be living in Manhattan. And, you know, like, yeah, you go to work and you have a lot of things. Like every day you eat out. But right now, every day I eat at home. So yes, it's just, again, you know, in this temporary phase, you are making temporary adjustments. And I think as a human being, we kind of like sometimes have to make those temporary adjustments. So from spending, yes, it can be very hard and challenging. I'm sorry, it's a very philosophical answer, not very maybe practical. But it means if you, it's about the supply and demand too, right? Right now, supply demand both are struggling. So you have to choose your own bets. What is best for you in this situation? I'm sorry, it's not the really direct answer to your question.
It is a tricky answer. That's why I pushed it to you. So definitely it's going to be a constrained kind of situation, but again it is going to be temporary, and but consumerism is going to stay in some form or the other, because
Yeah.
that's what we are. Quickly getting into another question from Sanchita. I hope it is okay for everyone, because we might spill over the time which has been allotted, so we'll try to quickly wind up. Sanchita asks, we are a fintech organization, which is a startup. What will be the impact as per current situation?
So again, in fintech, Ankita, if she can explain like what's her exact means industry. She's in insurance, she's in, I mean, banking, because there are many different sectors in fintech too, right? She's in payments. So it depends, means what's your industry is. I mean, if it again comes back to supply and demand. And if your platform is something that is basic and that's needed, then the impact would be less. If it's something that's, you know, it means if you're in insurance industry, if let's say, you know, you're kind of healthcare insurance, whatever, then impacts would be different. So it can be like, I think, generic for everyone. I mean, just yesterday there was an example. A friend of mine, he has a tech startup, and he lost 80% of his business because his tech is about giving so it's in payments, but the laundromat, he's kind of connecting that technology. Right now all the hotels are kind of out of, not in business. When it's again temporary, like they're closed. So for him, because that demand and supply is not there, so that really affected his business, even though it is a tech business. So for him, losing 80% of his business is huge. So things like that. So in fintech, end of the day, we are still making purchases. So if your platform is something in payments and all, and it's an easier way to do things, then yes, the demand's always going to be there. And once things kind of slowly and gradually improving, I think everything will start picking it up. And it applies to every industry, retail, even though this other guy who asked question about consumer, spending on that also, as well as fintech. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to club two questions, one from Udita and one from Dipakshi here. Udita is asking about uncertainty of job. There could be more in few sectors. Absolutely agree to it, but let me tell you, Udita, uncertainty has always been there. So there is no surety of job if you are not coping up or if you are not moving ahead with the new changes, the new technology, the new role. If you are not growing, even in the organization, then definitely you are at the bottom 10% or 15%. Any day the call can be taken. So it has to be reskilling, relooking, where do you fit in, have a lot of feedback, uh, reach out to people in case you don't have a great network, get in touch with your managers or your uplines and all, discuss about what are the options, opportunities available within the system. So this has always been the case for job insecurity for the people who were kind of very complacent with whatever they are doing. So it was never the option, and it is not going to be. It's even more now tougher for you to continue. You could have continued for another 5 years, but now you may not for another year if you're not changing, if you're not consciously reskilling yourself or working on your learnings. And Dipakshi, you are saying, what in case employees refuse to return to work? That's their choice. What do you mean not return to work? It's like they are working. If the arrangement, we also need to see as an employer, as a senior people in HR or as in, GM and those critical positions of management, that what are we expecting from employee? Now the whole model is going to be outcome based. Previously, the employee used to be in the office. I am available for 9 hours. Get whatever you want me to do. I can do that. I am available. Okay. Vis-a-vis now, the employer is saying, I just want this to be done. Wherever you do, whenever you do, I don't care. Just deliver me within this timeline. So this model is better for both. Okay. That gives the flexibility to the person, and the person cannot complain, mujhe family time nahi mil raha hai, I'm not able to spend time here. Now you have all the time. So it's the delivery or outcome based model which is going to come. So maybe from that, in case they don't want to come to office to work, if they are able to manage it from being there wherever they are, as long as they are delivering. But in case it is really required for you to have them in the office, then as per the norms, when the things open and it's safe for everyone, they need to come then. If the whole office has decided to be there, so everyone can. So it is up to you, depending upon the situation, what call you want to take. Okay. Okay. So again, a very tricky question I'm going to push to you. The question is, there are new opportunities and companies are moving out to China and looking for option in India. What about job options? So this is what it is. I couldn't understand it. So
I think is the question about, so China actually right now is the biggest manufacturer of and supplies almost, again, very high percentile to the world, right? They kind of have this manufacturing economy. So yes, I even read the same news where even just a few days ago, this very big German retail company, they have more than 100 million customers. They moved their operations from China to India. So to me, that's a good thing for India. I mean, that's another big opportunity for India. So especially in India, there are many day wager people with that kind of skill set. So for them, getting an employment in that kind of manufacturing unit would be very, very, good. And I think, Navneet asked an earlier question in retail. So that is again a retail company, right? Making such a big, taking such a big step. So yes, there are definitely those changes. So that way I see that's lucky for India. Second, other thing I see is being very lucky for India. India actually supplies 60% of world medicine. Right now, as you guys know, there are many trials, medicine for vaccines for COVID-19. Oxford was going, ahead than anyone else. They were doing pretty well, but just 2 days ago, I read now their trial, one of their trial on their human trial was successful, but the other trial kind of failed. But there was already as per that news, there was already 60 million or 60 million medication ordered to one company here in India. So to me, again, I see that's an opportunity for India, right? And I think many countries now, they're gonna really focus on being self-sufficient, producing local and consuming local. That's gonna be the mantra all over the world. But at the same time, we are living in this globalization world where we are dependent on each other as well, right? Just yesterday I was like, I want to eat pizza, and I asked my sister, and she's like, no, the pizza, it's just because that's not, the pizza base is not that fresh and it may not be very healthy. So she's like, don't eat it. So even like cheese and all those supplies, it comes from, may not like local production here in India, that comes from Italy, right? I'm just throwing an example. So end of the day, we are dependent that ways too. And now we are used to, these things where we kind of, use, other products. So I think it's going to be like, yes, producing here at home, and also the dependency that we have on other countries, that's going to be there. It's not going to be like, you're doing everything by yourself. It's again the teamwork. And I think going back to the video that Prerna and Navkin, the team shared at the beginning, means, penguins, because they were together, that's how they protected themselves from the shark, right? Otherwise shark would have eaten them so easily. So it's just that. So again, as a human being, as one species of this planet Earth, we are doing our part. What is we are good at.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Sandeep. Yeah, I lost your last part. Again, internet thing.
Okay,
yeah, you
sorry.
have something to you have something to do?
No, I think
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks all of you to stay longer also in this session. I am so glad. It seems that you are really finding it relevant. So that's the feedback to us. We are really grateful. Before we sign off, there's just my personal learning which I would like to share with everyone, and I get really motivated by the video. I'm not going to show the video. Maybe you can, someone can share it on the group. Anyone, Navkiran, Ankita, anyone, you can share that here and people can see as per their convenience. So this is the video about the lady called Vilma, and this I'm talking about 1950, and when she was born premature. She had scarlet fever and she had pneumonia, rather double pneumonia, and everyone felt that she's not going to survive. And but she survived all that. And on top of that, she had polio. So at that time, polio means that you are handicapped for the life. Your muscles are just not going to develop. So she had polio of left leg, and she couldn't even walk. She, as a baby, she wanted to walk, seeing kids around, and she asked her mother, I want to walk. The mother said, okay, go ahead and walk. And she figured out, she tried, and she started walking. At the age of 12 years, she started walking. She was out of her race because nobody told her that she needs to adapt herself for this situation for the whole life. Okay, so she never had that thought. The only thought she had that she had to walk, and that what she did. And when she saw kids running, she says, I want to run. And mother said, okay, run. Big deal. She's tried running, and obviously with such a big handicap, and she should have really thanked her blessings that she was able to walk, but she just couldn't compete. And she had made it a point that I am going to compete in races. And every time she was failing, people used to wait for her to complete the complete round. And they used to mock her, but she never gave up. And finally, the same lady, she participated in Olympics. She's known as the fastest woman on earth because 3 events she participated. She created the record and she won 3 gold medals. Amazing. That kind of mindset, that's the pinnacle. And I am always so inspired. So I hope, this inspiration rubs off to you also. There's a link which is already there. And happy being here. And again, I really, really thank Sandeep for taking out time and really enjoyed and really learned a lot, and amazing learning to me. And thanks for all the questions also. I had to actually think, and that made me learn few things. Thank you so much. And thanks the team for making it happen. And I promise you next time it is going to be bigger with more people and more reach. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I would request.
Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here. Please be safe.
Yeah, if everyone can turn on the videos, if possible, if everybody is in the best of, we can have a screenshot or a picture. If everybody can turn on the video, please. Yeah, I can see smiling faces now. Say cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for being a part of this event. We enjoyed a lot.
Thanks, everyone. I'm glad to be here. And please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Prerna, ma'am.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.